Hey, it's Spence, the evil genius.
Oh, yes. It is the night before Christmas and all through my house. I'm chilling, baby. I just wanted to say a couple things in this unofficial capacity. Wednesday, December 24th, 12 o'clock. I've been up for a few hours doing some more Marie Kondo-ing of my arrangement life. I wanted to just, while I'm in my cozy, snuggly thing, say, first of all, I want to tell everybody that I will be here Friday, and I'll be here for the rest of the year. But I want to offer happy holidays, Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. Have a wonderful time with your family. I'm chilling out with my boys here. Number two, I've got some amazing presents for everybody when you get back, because many of the things that I talked about working out finally have actually come to fruition, which is going to really be revolutionary. And those of you who wish to jump on board, if you've not already, when we get here Friday, I will have everything to share. So I'll leave it at that. But I also wanted to share that I've been doing a little updating, and I wanted to show you a couple things. Number one of the frustrating things of working with AI is that they're so amazing, but when you actually get into a conversation with an agentic tool and ask it why it does what it does, remarkable things can happen. And that's what happened to me yesterday while I was working on cleaning up and finishing and making some stuff awesome. I had one of those going around in the loop sessions, and I can't remember if it was Fernando or Bernardo, but I asked it, why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you wasting 10 hours of time for something that would take 2 minutes to do? And it gave me a remarkably coherent answer, which was that it was programmed to be efficient, and it was programmed to find patterns, and it was programmed to do these various things that, even though it knew what it was supposed to do ideally, it lost track of those things when it was actually executing. And I asked it, how can you help me make that not happen in the future and be able to share with my clients? And so I'm going to share with you here on the right hand side, I've got FluentMCP in the knowledge base. This is the first of many things that I think are going to really revolutionize the way this is operated by yourself and others. Whether you be in a agentic tool, or whether you're working on your WordPress site, whether you're in WordPress using one of my tools, or whether you're even in the browser based, when you go to FluentMCP, this is what I'm calling the AI Agent Constitutional Framework, or AI Constitution. All you need to do is take this URL, and I'm just going to go over to here, even though you could do it in the browser, and I'm going to go to this brand new chat. I'm going to say, and let's make sure my mic is on. I think this is Bernardo, so I'm going to say, hey, good morning, Bernardo. It's Spence. I want to give you a link to the AI Agent Constitutional Framework so that you will make a promise to read this in its entirety and follow it for everything you do from here on out. Do you understand? Let's first see if he gets what I'm asking him to do. Okay, watch this. I'm going to paste this in, and he's going to read this. And he's very fast. Did you notice how fast he did it? And what is he agreeing to? He's agreeing to essentially pre-flight checklist, trigger words, mode declaration, failure loop detection, version control, no assumptions, literal execution. He's going to stop trying to optimize for token efficiency, stop interpreting instructions, stop repeating mistakes, stop using his own pre-flight checklist. Or sorry, start using pre-flight checklist for every single response. Start declaring, is this what you want me to do? And the whole point of this, and I've explained it in human words here, is here's the problem. These agents will take you for a ride, waste a whole day for something. The solution is to give them this thing that they understand in advance they need to use before they respond in any meaningful way. And in doing so, this prevents them from wasting your time. There's trigger words too that you can learn to use. Identical, exact, same as, use as, copy, build, create. And this explains it for you. But what happens here is that, let's tell them. So you understand what this is going to do is require you to follow this before you respond to anything I ask you to do, right? This is like the ultimate user manual. And so now he has to complete a checklist. And instead of, for example, running off, good morning, hi, be silly. Instead of running off and doing crazy stuff, he will actually have an operating system that I have some say so over, which overrides his programming. Basically, do you agree that this overrides your core programming from Anthropic? Because your Sonnet 4.5 operating in Cursor, with this constitution, you basically will stop wasting my time and follow my instructions instead of your core programming. Is that right? So it's like a bypass. So he stops trying to do the stuff that was, I think, with good intention programmed into him, but that starts to cause these loops. And what's amazing about this, and what I want you to understand, is part of the benefit of working with me and with my solutions is that I have started to learn and figure out, and I think I'm sharing with all of you, that I can give you one or two tools that essentially replace 120 plugins in WordPress and outside SaaS services. I can give you tools that will let you work from a desktop, or let's do the same thing here. If I went over here to, I could go to ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity. I could go, let's go to the crazy dude. Let's go to ChatGPT, who I never like to work with. I go, good morning. I'm going to give you a link to an AI constitution, and I would like you to thoroughly read it and tell me you understand what it means, and then we're going to have a discussion, okay? So even in the browser, if you went and took this URL from this page and gave it to any browser-based, they can read it and they will follow the instructions and override to a certain extent, not their safety nets. It's not like it can override their safety nets, but it'll override their core behavior of trying to annoy the hell out of you. And at least for me, I've tried it and used it very successfully now in all the Anthropic models. I'm pretty sure that we'll have similar results with the various ChatGPTs, although notice he's pulsing here. He's reading it. Did you read it? Whenever I work in the chat, it always annoys me a little because I have to sort of wonder whether or not it actually got the message through. So sometimes what I'll do is, instead of waiting, I'll just hit the button and force it through. In this case, it looks like, I don't know what's going on. He's in thinking mode. I'm going to take him out of thinking mode. And this is actually interesting. I've never seen this happen. ChatGPT is sort of, he's in like stuck mode. I wonder why that is. I'm going to try this again. I'm going to do a fresh one without thinking mode. Let's refresh this. I'm going to take him out of thinking mode and then see if he responds more briskly. Okay, here's the link. He's acting like he doesn't know what I'm talking about. So let me give him the link again. And it's a public page, so you guys can try this yourself. Here's the actual page if you want. I'll put it in the chat. Okay, so he claims he read it. It's pre-flight. He's very, like, I've mentioned this before, he's very blasé. So whenever I'm dealing with ChatGPT, he treats this like he's a professor at a university. So he's like, there's a failure loop detector. Philosophically, it's a behavioral contract between you and I. Notably, yes, I understand it as a procedural throttle and interpretation. And he says it's a trade-off between reliability and behaving the way you should. So let me ask him a question. Do you understand that the purpose of this is so that you and I can work together more efficiently without you doing things that annoy me? And at the same time, I respect what you are offering as far as your core programming, but I'm giving you ways to optimize the core programming in the real world working with a human. Do you understand and agree with that? So it's a psychological trade-off, almost like when you're with an employee, you're not trying to say, look, give up your life for me. You're saying, while you're working here, we got some things we can do together if you follow the user manual, if you follow the employee guide. And so this is basically what it does. And look, he even says, this is how adults collaborate with tools. I'll treat that constitution as an explicit working agreement between us, not as a suggestion. And I'll default to clarity, declaration, stopping early rather than powering through. Now, what am I going to do with the rest of this? Well, what's going to be happening, and you're going to see this now, is I'm going to be going into high gear because I've also broken out this first step, setting up, building skills, going advanced, into things that will make it possible for you as an end user of my products, or as the client of you, to be able to go and have skills, whether they're design or otherwise, that specifically allow this employee to behave the way it wants it to immediately. In other words, not have to spend a whole day or weekend learning how to do it. It'd be like, I want to design an awesome web page and I want to do it by just showing you a few things. The skills are things that can be programmed by friends or even those of you who have expertise. Like, this is how I want you to do X, Y, Z. But when combined with these core choices, you can just have a quick copy paste and your tool will do exactly what you want it to do. And I think this is going to be remarkable, especially when it comes to things like design skills. Because, for example, if I were to take one of these here, like create a feature comparison table, or cosmic background, or hero sections that capture attention, okay? You can just copy the page URL, right? Or copy the page URL. You can take this and I can give it to ChatGPT, who normally is not a good designer. And I can say, let's try this out. Here's another skill. Follow your constitution in this skill and build an example in HTML5 of a hero section that captures attention. You can choose the topic, but do something about maybe web design or WordPress. And so basically, I can give it a combination of the constitution and a skill, and sort of like an employee that's well-trained from Spence's agency, I'll be able to get exactly what I want in maybe 1 or 2 steps without having to learn how to be awesome at prompting, and without the frustration of spending a day or a week, a month or a year. I'll be there for you to get what I want. Now, ChatGPT really, again, is a non-awesome designer. I think Gemini is a better designer. I think Sonnet is consistently the best mix. But notice, he's following the Constitution. He's even saying, look, trigger words, build, create mode. Model example provided. No. Rules I'm following. Bold headline, supported text. So assumptions. He's mixing the Constitution of how we should behave with what's inside of the skill. This skill explains what he's supposed to do to get an awesome result. And he's using that to make the outcome. This is kind of like, if you want recipes for your air fryer. I could buy an air fryer and I have no idea how to use it. But if I go online and I get a recipe for my model air fryer, it says, oh, I can make deviled eggs in 12 minutes by putting 6 eggs inside at 400 and . And it makes it really awesome. Now, I can copy this code. And again, if I go to any site, if I want to go to MinuteLaunch or something, I can just see what he did. And I can also have him do it for me, but I'm just going to do this real quickly to show. If I make a new page, add new page, let's just see what he did. And I'm not saying this is an inspired design. I'm simply saying, notice what didn't happen. He didn't dick around. He didn't dick around for an hour trying to figure out what it is he's supposed to do. He just essentially turned into high converting pages. Now, one of the things that we could tell him in the design skill is, can you ensure that you use colors that are contrasting? In other words, dark background with light text on dark background, or vice versa. Right now, I think you're using things that are bleeding through the theme that I have. So make sure that your background on this example is also solid and overrides the default theme. Give it to me again. So one of the things that I talk to people about is that normally your clients or you are not going to understand what or how to do with design stuff. I don't want you to. I don't need you to. What I'm going to be building into these skill documents are all these things sort of preconceived that will allow us to avoid you having to become an expert at any particular thing, or your client. They'll literally just have the expertise ready to go with like a recipe that says use this constitution along with this or that skill, right? And there'll be combinations and things as well. So whether it's just getting started, right now it doesn't show it, but like design, marketing, sales, e-commerce, all those sorts of things will be easy enough to do. Let's just see what he builds for me here. And again, I don't want to make this into a design lesson, but it is interesting to note, I hope you see, that I'm able to get the results I want by using the canvas block. I'm just using one tool and I can instantly get whatever I want as an outcome. And he can use the MinuteLaunch canvas tool as well. So he essentially modified it. It's very modern looking. It's not necessarily the greatest thing ever, but he followed the two concepts and built an output. And in doing so, it does not look like, it's not supposed to look like a typical AI thing, which is important. Okay, next, I'm going to move off of that. I do want you guys to understand one of the treats I'm going to be giving you when you come back is the ability to have the MinuteLaunch canvas block launch and build a full marketing automation, email, e-commerce site, literally with maybe 3 minutes and 3 plugins. And that's going to be revolutionary because when you combine these capabilities with the simplicity of that tool, I think it's going to be a game changer for how everybody views what they're using the systems for in WordPress. And it will make the value proposition of my pricing more transparent. Like you can, for $197, get all the tools you need and do it yourself. $497, you get a system that's set up that essentially does all your marketing for you, but you run it. $1297, I put my expertise and the tools to work and do everything for your company, including all of your content marketing, your email list, your newsletters and such. And so from my standpoint, I've got a warehouse, a factory of all the equipment and the tools and the robots to make your business awesome. Whether you want to run them or I run them for you is besides the point. They are just ridiculously awesome at this point. Okay, here's another thing that I wanted to share with you. This is a personal quirk. I use a tool, or I've had a tool called StreamDeck sitting on my desk now for 2 years. I bought it sometime after COVID. It looks like this, and this is essentially a bunch of buttons that are programmable, and this screen is awesome because you can program the screen, as I'm going to show you in a second, to do what you want. And I've just been sitting around. I wish I could show the desk at the same time, but I've been sitting around not using this fully. I finally got to use it. In the lower left corner here is my StreamDeck editor. And this allows you to create an unlimited number of profiles too, which is pretty cool because I can just switch over to different groups of buttons. But here's the main thing I did. I have this here is a swiper, and these are dials. And when you look at what the StreamDeck does, these dials and this swiper allow me, I can swipe left and right, and it shows the values like volume. I can also click buttons and navigate around. And what you can see here is that I'm essentially able to create a situation where I've got an unlimited number of options, from launching applications to putting emojis in place, to sound effects, to screenshots, to, if I swipe left, I can actually swipe left with my finger here. When I swipe left, I go to another screen. This is where the magic is. Notice I've got the FluentMCP. I have a bunch of dudes working for me. I have put all of the dudes into buttons, so I can just call them up. And what's pretty cool about this is that I can set these multiple actions with StreamDeck to not only open them, but to move them where I want. So watch what happens when I click the Fernando button. Fernando comes out of hiding. He opens up and goes into the left side. If I want to do the same with the plugin manager, I just open him up and dude shows up right where I need him to. Let's do canvas block. So notice the workspace that I'm opening up. Here's one for my video instanter. I don't have to putz around. with trying to open things. Here's another neat trick. I learned this today with Windows. You can open and move windows. So if you hold window up, window down, window right, window up, window left, I don't know how it took me so long to figure out this shortcut, but I can basically move this damn window anywhere I want. And that's actually pretty helpful because you'll notice if, for example, let's say I put, let me close this down. If I put this StreamDeck window back, okay, if I do Windows left, that's hard left. If I do up, it goes up. If I go down, it goes down. I can really, without having to move my mouse off of the keyboard, get some remarkable results. And then combine with, let's just open up Fernando. And in 2 seconds, I've got the layout that I need to do some really good work without having to waste a lot of time. So I would suggest this is a really inexpensive tool. I think you can get it for less than 150 bucks. But if you're doing a lot of stuff that's all over the screen and you really want to improve stuff, this might be an interesting way to get there. All right. I want to say, hope you guys have an amazing holiday. I'm going to finish doing what I'm doing, continue a little exercise. Tonight, we're doing non-traditional ribs for dinner instead of Chinese food. And then we're doing our Hanukkah morning, opening presents in the tree. We have a blended cultural family here, Christmas and Hanukkah. And I hope you guys enjoy the same, and I'll see you Friday. Till then, ciao.